The bright lights, glamorous red carpets, and standing ovations paint a picture of Hollywood as the land of opportunity. It is a place where talent is rewarded, dreams come true, and diversity is embraced. At least, that is what they want the world to believe. The reality is far less glamorous and much more troubling. Behind the polished speeches, behind the carefully curated social media posts, behind the so-called diversity initiatives, lies a system built on control, exclusion, and decades of silent oppression. Hollywood has always been a master of illusion, and its greatest trick is convincing the world that it has moved beyond its racist past when, in fact, it continues to thrive on it. Black actors, filmmakers, and storytellers have spent decades fighting for a seat at the table, only to realize that the table was never built for them in the first place. They are welcomed just enough to make Hollywood look good, but are never truly allowed to thrive on their own terms. They are praised on stage, but paid significantly less behind the scenes. They are given awards, but denied leading roles. They are allowed to tell stories, but only the ones that fit into the narrow lens controlled by white executives. And when they speak up, when they demand real change, when they call out the hypocrisy, they are met with silence, rejection, or worse, complete erasure. Hollywood claims to celebrate diversity, but it does so on its own terms. Black talent is allowed to exist, but only within the limitations set by those in power. They are cast in stereotypical roles, expected to conform to outdated narratives, and forced to work twice as hard for half the recognition. Studios love to showcase their commitment to representation, yet the highest positions of power remain untouched by true diversity. The executives making the final decisions, the producers funding the biggest projects, the directors controlling the most influential films, very few of them are black. And that is not a coincidence. It is by design. This is not just about a few unfair contracts or a handful of overlooked performances. This is a systemic issue that has been embedded into Hollywood's foundation for over a century. It is about the stories that are never told, the actors who are never given a chance, and the filmmakers who are forced to navigate an industry that was never meant for them. It is about the silent forces that decide which black voices are amplified and which are silenced. It is about power, control, and the deep-rooted fear that true representation will dismantle the very system that Hollywood was built upon. For decades, Hollywood has erased black talent from its history while profiting from black culture. It has taken black stories, stripped them of authenticity, and repackaged them for white audiences. It has profited from black pain while refusing to acknowledge black brilliance. And when black actors and filmmakers break through despite the barriers, they are often met with resistance, with their success treated as an exception rather than the norm. Take a look at the industry's history, and you will see a pattern that cannot be ignored. Black performers were once only allowed to appear in roles that reinforced negative stereotypes. If they refused, they were blacklisted. If they succeeded, their contributions were minimized. Even today, black actors are less likely to be cast in leading roles, less likely to be given major production budgets, and less likely to receive the same level of marketing and promotional support as their white counterparts. Even the awards that claim to celebrate excellence are not exempt from this pattern. The Academy Awards, one of the most prestigious honors in the industry, has a long history of excluding black talent. It took decades before the first black actor won an Oscar. Even now, the number of black winners remains disproportionately low. And when black actors do win, it is often for roles that fit into Hollywood's preferred narrative, roles that depict struggle, pain, or servitude rather than success, power, or leadership. But the issue goes deeper than just casting and awards. It is about who gets to tell the stories, who gets to control the narratives, and who holds the power to decide what is seen and what is hidden. Black filmmakers who try to tell authentic black stories often struggle to secure funding, face interference from executives who want to change their vision, or are forced to compromise in order to get their films distributed. Meanwhile, white directors are often given the green light to tell black stories, even when they lack the lived experience to do so with authenticity. This is not an accident. It is not an oversight. It is a deliberate effort to maintain control over how black culture is represented in mainstream media. When Hollywood does embrace black talent, it often does so in a way that is safe, controlled, and carefully managed. Black actors are more likely to be cast in supporting roles rather than leads. Black directors are more likely to be given small, independent projects rather than big-budget blockbusters. And black stories are more likely to be told through a lens that makes them palatable for white audiences. This is why so many black creatives are turning away from the traditional Hollywood system. They are creating their own platforms, funding their own projects, and finding success outside of the industry's control. They are proving that there is an audience for authentic black stories, that representation is not just a trend, and that true diversity cannot exist within a system that was never designed to be inclusive. Hollywood wants the world to believe that it has changed, but real change is not about optics. It is about action. It is about who holds the power, who makes the decisions, and who is given the freedom to succeed on their own terms. Until black talent is given the same opportunities, the same respect, and the same level of creative freedom as their white counterparts, Hollywood's so-called diversity will remain nothing more than an illusion. The industry thrives on secrecy, but the truth can no longer be ignored. The question is, what happens next? Will Hollywood finally be held accountable? Will it truly embrace change? Or will it continue to operate under the illusion of progress? The answer lies not just within the industry, but with the audience. Because as long as people continue to support and celebrate a system that marginalizes black talent, that system will continue to exist. But if enough people demand better, if enough people refuse to accept the illusion, real change becomes possible. Now it is your turn to be a part of that change. Let your voice be heard. Share this video. Start the conversation. Demand better. Because the truth is out, and Hollywood can no longer hide behind the illusion of diversity. The question is, are they ready to face it? If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment below, and subscribe for more in-depth content. Thank you for watching, and remember, real change starts with awareness. Hollywood has always been a business of control. From the earliest days of the industry, those in power have dictated who gets a chance, who gets silenced, and who gets erased. For black actors and filmmakers, the fight has never just been about talent. It has been about surviving in an industry that was designed to keep them in the margins. At first glance, it may seem like Hollywood has evolved. There are now more black faces on screen, more black directors getting opportunities, and more conversations about representation. But what many people fail to realize is that this so-called progress is carefully controlled. It is not about true equality. It is about giving just enough to keep the criticism at bay, while ensuring that the real power remains unchanged. Look at the numbers, and the truth becomes undeniable. Despite black actors proving their box office draw time and time again, they are still paid significantly less than their white counterparts. Studies have shown that leading black actors often make millions of dollars less than white actors in similar roles. This pay gap is not just a matter of individual contracts. It is an industry-wide standard that devalues black talent. Even black filmmakers who have proven their worth are not given the same level of trust as white directors. They are often given smaller budgets, shorter production timelines, and less marketing support. And when a black-led film does succeed, it is treated as an anomaly rather than proof that black storytelling is just as powerful and profitable as any other. The financial disparity does not stop at salaries and budgets. It extends to ownership and long-term wealth. Many black creatives do not own the rights to their work. They are brought into the industry to perform, to direct, to write. But the true profits remain in the hands of the studios, producers, and executives who have always controlled Hollywood's wealth. This lack of ownership is one of the most damaging aspects of systemic racism in the industry. It means that even when black artists achieve success, their legacy is still controlled by the same system that has historically excluded them. Their work can be edited, rebranded, or even buried if it no longer serves the interests of those in power. Consider how many black-led films have been denied proper distribution, given minimal marketing, or outright shelved by studios. These are not isolated incidents. They are strategic decisions made to control which black narratives are seen and which are suppressed. And when a black film does manage to break through, the industry finds ways to downplay its impact. For example, when a black film succeeds at the box office, the narrative is often that it is a surprise hit. The success is treated as unexpected, despite the fact that black audiences have always been one of the most influential forces in cinema. Meanwhile, white-led films that flop are often given second chances, with their failures excused as bad timing or poor marketing rather than a lack of demand. These double standards are not accidental. They are a way of maintaining the illusion that Black-led projects are a risk rather than a guarantee. It is a tactic designed to justify why Black creatives are given fewer opportunities, even when the data proves otherwise. But the control does not end there. One of Hollywood's most effective tools for maintaining its power structure is gatekeeping. There is an unspoken rule in the industry that Black actors, filmmakers, and writers must be chosen, approved, and managed by the right people. Those who conform to the system, who do not challenge the status quo, who accept the roles they are given without question, these are the ones who are allowed to succeed. But those who demand more, who push back against the unfairness, who refuse to play by the unspoken rules, they often find themselves pushed out, ignored, or quietly blacklisted. This is why so many Black creatives have struggled to build long-lasting careers, even after achieving major success. The moment they step outside the boundaries set for them, their opportunities start to disappear. Their projects get mysteriously shelved, their funding suddenly dries up, and the industry moves on as if they never existed. Take a look at some of the most talented Black filmmakers and actors of past decades. How many of them have had their careers abruptly stall after speaking out about injustice? How many have had to turn to independent platforms to continue their work because the mainstream industry no longer supports them? This is not coincidence. It is the result of an industry that only allows Black talent to exist within carefully controlled limits. Even today, when Black filmmakers create groundbreaking work, they often face challenges that white directors never have to deal with. They are asked to prove themselves over and over again, while white filmmakers are given opportunities based on potential alone. They are expected to tell stories that fit into Hollywood's preferred mold rather than stories that reflect the full depth of the Black experience. And when Black filmmakers find success outside of Hollywood, the industry takes notice, not to support them, but to find ways to bring them back under control. Major studios have a history of co-opting independent Black success, offering deals that seem beneficial on the surface, but ultimately strip creatives of their independence. They use financial incentives to lure Black filmmakers into the system, only to limit their creative freedom once they are inside. This is why ownership and control are the most critical aspects of change. Until Black creatives own their work, their stories, and their platforms, Hollywood will continue to dictate how Black talent is used, how Black stories are told, and how Black success is defined. The power structure of Hollywood was built on exclusion, and it has spent decades perfecting the art of controlling diversity rather than embracing it. This is why Black filmmakers are turning to alternative distribution models, building their own production companies, and finding success through streaming platforms rather than relying on traditional studios. They are creating a system where their stories are no longer filtered through the lens of Hollywood gatekeepers. But real change requires more than just individual success. It requires a shift in the audience's perspective. As long as people continue to support a system that thrives on exclusion, that system will continue to exist. Change happens when audiences demand better, when they seek out independent Black films, when they support Black-owned production companies, and when they refuse to accept the illusion of progress that Hollywood sells. This is not just about entertainment. It is about culture, history, and the power of storytelling. Hollywood has controlled the narrative for too long. It is time for that to change. If you want to be a part of that change, start by making your voice heard. Support Black filmmakers, challenge the industry's double standards, and never stop asking questions. Because the truth is out there, and Hollywood can no longer hide behind the illusion of diversity. If this video opened your eyes, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Your engagement is what keeps these conversations alive. Thank you for watching, and remember, real change begins with awareness. Hollywood has mastered the art of illusion. It sells diversity while keeping control. It praises progress while reinforcing old systems of power. And one of the most deceptive tactics it uses is tokenism. Tokenism is when Hollywood casts a few Black actors or hires a small number of Black creatives to create the appearance of diversity without making any real structural changes. It is a strategy designed to pacify critics while ensuring that true power remains in the hands of the same executives, producers, and gatekeepers who have always controlled the industry. Look at how many films and TV shows claim to be diverse, simply because they include one black character in a sea of white faces. This one character is rarely given depth, complexity, or a storyline of their own. Instead, they exist to support the white protagonists, to serve as comic relief, or to fulfill outdated stereotypes. This is not progress. This is the illusion of inclusion. Even when Hollywood does center black stories, it often does so on its own terms. It decides which black narratives are profitable, which ones are palatable for mainstream audiences, and which ones get erased entirely. One of the most common ways this happens is through the rewriting of black history. When Hollywood tells historical stories, it often distorts the facts to make them more acceptable to white audiences. Black figures who were radical, outspoken, or revolutionary are softened or erased altogether. Their struggles are downplayed, their victories are diminished, and their pain is sanitized to avoid making white viewers uncomfortable. Take a look at how Hollywood portrays slavery. In many films, slavery is presented as a tragic but distant event, something that happened long ago and no longer affects modern society. Movies like 12 Years a Slave and Django Unchained depict the brutality of slavery, but even these films often frame the story in ways that provide a sense of closure, a way for audiences to walk away feeling like the problem has been resolved. But the truth is, the legacy of slavery is not a closed chapter. Its impact is still deeply felt today in systemic racism, economic inequality, and the very industry that claims to tell these stories. Hollywood does the same thing with the civil rights movement. It focuses on a few well-known figures like Martin Luther King Jr., while ignoring the many activists who challenged the system in ways that were considered too radical. It celebrates nonviolence, while erasing the leaders who believed in self-defense and direct action. This selective storytelling is not accidental. It is designed to control the narrative and prevent audiences from understanding the full depth of black resistance and struggle. And then there is the exploitation of black trauma. Hollywood profits from black pain. Movies about slavery, segregation, and police brutality are consistently made and marketed, often winning awards and critical acclaim. But these films rarely lead to real change. Instead, they serve as emotional spectacles, ways for audiences to witness black suffering without having to confront their own role in the systems that create it. Look at how many films about black history focus on pain, struggle, and victimhood rather than strength, innovation, and joy. Look at how Hollywood rewards white filmmakers for telling black stories while ignoring the black directors who have been telling these stories for years. This is a pattern that repeats itself over and over again. Black trauma is marketable, but black success is not. When black filmmakers try to tell stories that do not center on oppression, stories about black love, black excellence, or black science fiction, Hollywood often labels them as niche or risky. But when white filmmakers make movies about black pain, they are praised as brave and groundbreaking. The industry benefits from black suffering while limiting black voices. And it is not just about the stories that are told. It is about the people who get to tell them. For decades, Hollywood has relied on white directors, producers, and writers to shape black narratives. Even when a film is about black culture, it is often led by white creatives who control how the story is framed and who gets to be the hero. Consider how many black biopics and historical dramas have been made with white savior narratives, where a white character plays a central role in helping black people overcome their struggles. This is not accidental. It is a deliberate choice to make these stories more digestible for white audiences. Meanwhile, black filmmakers who want to tell stories from their own perspective often struggle to get funding, distribution, and marketing support. They are told that their films are not universal enough, that they will not appeal to mainstream audiences, or that they should change their vision to make it more marketable. This is not just about representation. This is about control. Hollywood allows just enough black success to maintain the illusion of progress, but it refuses to give up real power. It is the reason why black actors are often typecast in the same kinds of roles. They are given parts as slaves, criminals, struggling single parents, or sidekicks, but rarely as complex, fully developed protagonists. And even when a black-led film does succeed, Hollywood often takes credit for it rather than acknowledging the struggles that black creatives had to overcome to make it happen. The industry is built on a system that rewards compliance and punishes resistance. So, what can be done? The first step is awareness. The more people understand how Hollywood operates, the harder it becomes for the industry to maintain its illusions. Audiences need to recognize when they are being sold a watered-down version of Black history, when they are being manipulated into accepting tokenism as progress, and when Black trauma is being used as entertainment rather than a call to action. The second step is supporting independent Black filmmakers. There are many Black directors, writers, and producers who are creating powerful, original stories outside of the Hollywood system. Platforms like YouTube, streaming services, and independent film festivals are giving Black creatives new ways to share their work without having to rely on traditional studios. The third step is demanding change. Hollywood is a business, and businesses respond to public pressure. When audiences refuse to accept shallow diversity, when they call out the industry's double standards, and when they actively seek out authentic Black storytelling, Hollywood is forced to respond. Change will not come from within. It will come from the outside, from the audiences, the creators, and the communities who refuse to accept the status quo. Hollywood's hidden racism is not just about individual biases. It is about a deeply entrenched system designed to keep Black talent under control. But that system can be challenged, exposed, and ultimately dismantled. And it starts with people like you. People who are willing to see the truth, speak out, and demand something better. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Your support helps bring these conversations to the forefront. Let us continue to expose the truth they do not want you to know. Hollywood is not just about storytelling. It is about power and money, and when it comes to Black creatives, the industry has perfected the art of economic control. It is not enough for Hollywood to limit Black representation on screen. It also ensures that Black actors, filmmakers, and creators are financially dependent on a system that was never built for them. One of the most glaring examples of this is pay inequality. Black actors, even those who reach A-list status, are consistently paid less than their white counterparts. This is true even when they're starring in blockbuster films, bringing in millions in revenue, and proving their box office value. Take the case of Viola Davis, one of the most respected and decorated Black actresses in Hollywood. Despite winning an Academy Award, an Emmy, and a Tony, she has openly spoken about how she is still paid significantly less than white actresses with fewer accolades and less experience. The same issue exists in television. Studies have shown that Black actors on major TV shows often earn less per episode than their white co-stars, even when they have leading roles. And this is not just about actors. Black directors and writers are also severely underpaid, if they even get the opportunity to work in the first place. Hollywood greenlights fewer Black-led projects, offers smaller budgets, and provides less marketing support for films made by Black creatives. When a white director makes a film about Black culture, it is treated as a bold artistic statement. But when a Black director makes the same film, they are often told it is too niche or risky. This financial control is not accidental. It is designed to keep Black talent dependent on Hollywood's system. A system where white executives and producers have the final say on what gets made, who gets paid, and which Black stories are deemed profitable. But the financial barriers do not stop there. One of the biggest challenges Black filmmakers face is access to ownership. Owning your own production company, your own studio, or your own distribution platform means you can create films on your own terms, without needing permission from Hollywood's gatekeepers. But very few Black creatives have been able to achieve this. The reason? Systematic exclusion. Hollywood is structured in a way that makes it nearly impossible for Black creatives to build lasting wealth and independence in the industry. Even when Black filmmakers prove they can succeed, they still struggle to secure the funding and resources needed to maintain long-term careers. Look at the case of Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry is one of the few Black filmmakers who has managed to create a fully independent production empire. He built his own studio, produces his own films, and does not have to rely on traditional Hollywood studios. But instead of being celebrated as a success story, Perry has faced years of criticism and dismissal from the industry. His films are often categorized as lowbrow or overly commercial, despite the fact that they consistently perform well at the box office. Why? Because Hollywood does not want Black creatives to have full economic control. The industry benefits when Black talent remains dependent, when they need to go through white-owned studios, production companies, and distributors just to get their work made. And this brings us to Hollywood's biggest hypocrisy. Even though the industry limits black ownership, it has no problem profiting from black culture. Time and time again, we see Hollywood stealing from black creatives, taking elements of black culture, music, and fashion, and repackaging them for mainstream, white audiences. This is cultural appropriation on a massive scale. Consider how many blockbuster films and TV shows have taken inspiration from black art forms, hip-hop, jazz, streetwear, dance, without giving proper credit or opportunities to the black creators who pioneered them. The same thing happens in casting. Hollywood often whitewashes black stories, replacing black characters with lighter-skinned or mixed-race actors to make them more marketable. This is not just about colorism. It is about erasing blackness while still profiting from black culture. A perfect example of this is the recent controversy over casting Zoe Saldana as Nina Simone. Nina Simone was an iconic black artist who spoke openly about racism, colorism, and the struggles of being a dark-skinned black woman in America. But instead of casting an actress who reflected her real-life identity, Hollywood chose Zoe Saldana, a lighter-skinned actress of Afro-Latina descent, and darkened her skin with makeup. This is how Hollywood operates. It takes what it wants from black culture, but refuses to fully embrace or respect black people. It is the same reason why black musicians, from early jazz artists to modern hip-hop icons, have had their work stolen, exploited, and repackaged by white artists who get more fame and financial success. And it is the same reason why Hollywood continues to push the narrative that black films do not sell internationally, a lie that has been debunked over and over again. Black-led films do make money. Black Panther, a Marvel film with a predominantly black cast, became one of the highest-grossing films of all time. Jordan Peele's horror films, which center black characters and themes, have broken box office records. Movies like Get Out, Us, and Nope have proven that black stories are not just marketable, they are in demand. So why does Hollywood still act as if black films are a financial risk? Because acknowledging black success would mean acknowledging that Hollywood has been lying for decades. It would mean admitting that the industry has deliberately suppressed black talent, underpaid black actors, and denied black filmmakers opportunities. Not because of financial concerns, but because of power. If black creatives had full control over their narratives, their productions, and their distribution, Hollywood's entire system would be disrupted. And that is what the industry truly fears. So, what can be done? First, black creatives need direct support instead of waiting for Hollywood's approval. Audiences can support black-owned studios, independent black films, and streaming platforms that uplift black voices. Second, black talent needs equal pay and financial backing. If a black actor can carry a billion-dollar franchise, they should be paid accordingly. If a black director can create a record-breaking film, they should receive the same investment as their white counterparts. Third, Hollywood needs to be held accountable. The industry cannot continue to claim diversity while still upholding racist structures. It cannot continue to profit from black culture while excluding black talent. It cannot keep pretending to embrace change while actively blocking black ownership. Real diversity is not just about who is on screen. It is about who has power behind the scenes. Until that changes, Hollywood's racism will remain hidden in plain sight. If you agree, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us keep exposing the truth they do not want you to know. Hollywood has not only defined popular culture, but has also, for decades, imposed strict limitations on who gets to tell the stories that shape our collective imagination. In this final segment, we examine the courageous journeys of those individuals who have refused to accept the barriers constructed by an industry steeped in systemic racism. Their stories are a testament to resilience, creativity, and the unwavering determination to reclaim the narrative. We begin by considering the work of a filmmaker whose very name has become synonymous with challenging conventions. Spike Lee, through films that confront uncomfortable truths, has not only exposed the overt racism present in everyday life, but has also shed light on the more insidious practices within Hollywood itself. In his film, Do the Right Thing, he captured the tension simmering beneath the surface of racial divides, making it clear that change is not merely a matter of policy, but of hearts and minds. Spike Lee has consistently utilized his platform to force the industry and audiences alike to recognize that true progress cannot be measured by superficial diversity alone. Similarly, Ava DuVernay has emerged as a formidable force in reshaping Hollywood. Her work in films such as Selma and the documentary 13th offers a profound exploration of the struggles and triumphs of the Black community. Ava has made it her mission to tell stories that are often suppressed or overlooked by mainstream media. By doing so, she has provided a voice to those who have long been marginalized. And in doing so, she has inspired a new generation of filmmakers to follow in her footsteps. Ava DuVernay has not only achieved critical acclaim, but has also demonstrated that narratives grounded in authenticity can resonate with audiences across the globe. Her efforts to mentor emerging Black talent and her persistent call for equitable representation behind the camera highlight the transformative power of ownership. When Black creatives take charge of their own narratives, they create spaces where authentic voices can flourish and where the creative process is liberated from the constraints of traditional gatekeeping. Another remarkable example of this resistance is Jordan Peele, whose transition from comedy to horror has rewritten the rules of storytelling in modern cinema. With his groundbreaking film, Get Out, Jordan Peele exposed the subtle, yet pervasive nature of modern racism. He crafted a narrative that was both entertaining and deeply unsettling, forcing viewers to confront uncomfortable realities about race and privilege. His work has opened doors for other Black directors who wish to explore complex themes that challenge the status quo. Jordan Peele has shown that Black storytelling is not confined to one genre, and that narratives born from the lived experiences of Black individuals have the power to captivate audiences and achieve remarkable commercial success. His films stand as powerful evidence that when Black creatives are given the freedom to express themselves, they can redefine the very nature of mainstream cinema. Viola Davis is another luminary who has faced the harsh realities of Hollywood head-on. Despite her undeniable talent and box office appeal, Viola has consistently encountered the dual barriers of typecasting and pay disparity. Her experiences are not isolated incidents. They are reflective of a broader pattern within the industry. Viola Davis has used her platform to speak out about these injustices, challenging the industry to address the inequities that persist despite repeated assurances of progress. Her advocacy for fair compensation and more nuanced roles for Black actors underscores the critical need for systemic change. Viola has become a powerful symbol of what is possible when one refuses to accept the status quo and instead demands that the industry live up to its promises of inclusion and equality. The struggles and triumphs of these individuals reveal a fundamental truth. Ownership is essential to real change. Ownership is not solely about financial control, although that is an important aspect. It is also about having the power to determine one's own narrative. When Black filmmakers and actors secure the means to produce and distribute their work independently, they break free from the constraints imposed by traditional Hollywood. This independence allows for stories to be told without compromise and for the creative process to remain authentic. The rise of independent production companies and alternative distribution channels, such as streaming platforms, has provided Black creatives with the opportunity to bypass the traditional gatekeepers. These platforms have become incubators for innovative storytelling that reflects the true diversity of experiences within the Black community. The role of the audience in this transformation cannot be understated. When viewers choose to support films and television shows that authentically represent Black experiences, they are making a powerful statement. The collective voice of the audience has the ability to shift market dynamics and influence industry decisions. Grassroots movements and social media campaigns have shown that public pressure can force studios to re-examine their practices and invest in more equitable storytelling. Social media, in particular, has become a powerful tool for accountability, allowing individuals to share their experiences, highlight injustices, and mobilize support for change. When a significant portion of the audience demands better representation and equal opportunities for Black talent, Hollywood is compelled to respond. In addition to audience activism, it is imperative that industry insiders take concrete steps toward reform. Studios must adopt more inclusive hiring practices and ensure that decision-making bodies include a diverse array of voices. This involves not only hiring more Black executives, producers, and directors, but also investing in mentorship programs that prepare emerging talent for leadership roles. Educational institutions and industry workshops can play a pivotal role in equipping Black creatives with the skills and knowledge required to succeed in an environment that has historically been hostile to their contributions. Furthermore, transparency in contracts and accountability for pay disparities are essential measures that must be implemented to dismantle the structures of inequality that have long defined Hollywood. Regulatory bodies and industry organizations must also take responsibility for enforcing standards of fairness. Just as laws exist in other sectors to protect workers and ensure fair pay, similar protections should be extended to creatives in the film industry. Anti-discrimination policies, stringent oversight of financial practices, and clear guidelines for equitable treatment are necessary to create a level playing field. These measures are not merely bureaucratic. They are fundamental to ensuring that every creative voice is valued and that every story has the opportunity to be told without prejudice. The support of allies is another critical component in the fight against hidden racism. White allies in Hollywood have a significant role to play in amplifying the voices of Black creatives and challenging the status quo. When influential figures within the industry take a stand and use their platforms to advocate for equality, it sends a powerful message that the fight for justice is not a solitary endeavor. Allies must actively participate in discussions about representation and demand accountability from those in positions of power. Their support can help to break down the barriers that have long prevented Black talent from receiving the recognition and opportunities they deserve. The combined efforts of empowered Black creatives, vigilant audiences, and committed allies hold the promise of transforming Hollywood into an industry that truly reflects the diversity of human experience. The journey toward real change is neither quick nor easy, but every step taken in the right direction moves us closer to a future where every story is told with honesty and every talent is given the chance to shine. The successes of pioneers such as Spike Lee, Ava DuVernay, Jordan Peele, and Viola Davis serve as beacons of hope, illuminating a path that others can follow. Their achievements are not only milestones in their personal careers, but also symbols of what can be accomplished when the barriers of systemic racism are confronted and dismantled. Real change in Hollywood requires a fundamental shift in mindset, one that recognizes that diversity is an asset rather than a threat. It requires a commitment to nurturing talent regardless of background and a willingness to invest in narratives that challenge conventional wisdom. The undeniable commercial success of films with predominantly Black casts is proof that there is an eager audience for stories that are both authentic and innovative. It is time for the industry to match its rhetoric of diversity with genuine action by ensuring that every creative individual is given the opportunity to contribute fully to the tapestry of cinema. In conclusion, the case studies of influential figures in Hollywood illuminate both the challenges and the potential for transformation. The experiences of Spike Lee, Ava DuVernay, Jordan Peele, and Viola Davis demonstrate that while the industry has long been marred by systemic racism and economic control, there is a growing movement toward independence and self-ownership. Their stories offer not only a critique of the current system, but also a blueprint for the future. By supporting independent Black cinema, demanding accountability from established studios, and actively engaging in the reformation of industry practices, we can collectively dismantle the oppressive structures that have long limited creative expression. If you found this analysis enlightening and believe in the power of authentic storytelling, please join the movement. Engage with this content by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Your support is crucial in driving the change that we all wish to see. Each view, each comment, and each share sends a message to Hollywood that the time for superficial diversity is over. We must continue to raise our voices and hold the industry accountable until every story is told with integrity and every talent is allowed to flourish without restraint. Thank you for watching, and remember that real change begins when we dare to speak the truth and stand united against injustice. If you believe in exposing the truth behind Hollywood's hidden racism, now is the time to take action. Support this movement by liking this video, leaving a comment, and sharing it with others who need to hear this message. Your engagement helps bring awareness to these issues and puts pressure on the industry to change. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on the stories they don't want you to know. Let's continue this conversation in the comments. Who are some Black filmmakers or actors you think deserve more recognition? Together, we can challenge the system, amplify Black voices, and demand real change in the film industry. Thank you for watching, and remember, Knowledge is power, but action creates change. See you in the next video.